Welcome to the darker side of history. The air thickens with the stench of your own body. Flesh rots where it should heal. Pustules rise like cursed fruit across your skin. Your bed, a four-poster imperial shrine embroidered in gold thread, now reeks of rot, blood, and fetid linens. You are King Philip II of Spain, once sovereign over the wealthiest empire the world has seen. And now, in the twilight of your reign, your kingdom narrows to the few inches between your fevered limbs and the cold wall of your death chamber. You might flinch. That's the point. If this kind of raw historical storytelling moves you, go ahead and like the video and subscribe. No fluff, just facts and fear. Let us know where you're watching from, especially if you're alone. Now, brace yourself. Let's walk into the shadows. The pain begins in your legs. A low, smoldering ache. At first, it mimics the daily stiffness of age. You're 70 now, ancient by 16th century standards. But this feels different, more insistent. Not fatigue, not strain. A pressure, like something inside your bones is pushing outward, as if your own marrow has turned to molten iron. You try to shift your weight in the bed, but the sheets cling to the raw skin of your thighs. When your servant pulls them back, a slick, glistening smear of yellowish pus tethers fabric to flesh. You say nothing. You are king. Kings do not cry out. The doctors are summoned. They arrive in stiff collars and grim expressions, muttering Latin and crossing themselves before they even examine you. There are no answers, only guesses. Is it gout? Some wonder, inflamed beyond normal reason? Is it phlegmonous erysipelas, one suggests, a bacterial invasion of the skin, devouring your flesh in waves of crimson swell? But even that fails to describe the sheer breadth of your agony. What they don't know is this. Your body has become a tomb, not a battlefield, not a fortress, a tomb. And something is alive inside that tomb. Something with teeth and heat and hunger. Your legs bloat until they double in size. Your genitals swell grotesquely, forcing you to sit in agony with towels arranged just so to prevent infection from your own bodily secretions. A fringed tale whispers that a surgeon fled your chamber weeping after seeing the state of your lower half. Scholars still debate whether this was exaggeration, palace gossip spiraling in the face of your decaying body, or an honest reaction to the slow-motion horror playing out day after day, in public and in private. You remember the victories. Lepanto, Portugal, the iron grip of the Inquisition, but even those memories blur under the fever's haze. Your head throbs with heat. Your tongue thickens until speech comes out as sludge. Every breath tastes metallic, sour, like rusted nails and bile. You are not sleeping. You are collapsing, and surfacing in cycles too broken to track. Sometimes you dream that your bones are cracking like scorched timber, and when you wake, it takes a few seconds to realize it isn't a dream. The cracks are real. Your skeleton is breaking under the weight of your own decay. A curious detail lingers in this early phase. The persistent scratching. You insist something is crawling just beneath your skin. Fleas, perhaps, or mites. The physicians search. They find nothing. But you feel it. Constant. Relentless. As if your own nerve endings have turned traitor. In modern hindsight, some suspect renal failure or severe sepsis causing neuropathy. But in the 1590s, there are no names for such torments. Only suffering. You whisper prayers, endless chains of Ave Marias, sometimes hundreds per day, your lips chapped from murmuring toward salvation. The relics arrive soon after, splinters of the true cross, threads of the Virgin's veil, dried, blood in crystal phials said to be from saints who died screaming. They are pressed to your body in sacred gestures meant to purify, to heal. But they sear instead. Your skin blisters beneath them. You do not protest. This is God's will. This is what must be. Mainstream accounts confirm that you, Philip II, refused opium, refused laudanum, refused even the mildest sedatives. Not out of pride, but penance. For every soul tortured in the name of faith, for every heretic burned in the square, you believe your pain is an offering. You must feel it all. And so you do. You lie there, and you rot, slowly, cell by cell. The once glorious flesh of the Catholic king, devoto y casto, defender of the faith, is turning to something unholy, something the court cannot name aloud. You overhear their euphemisms. Inconvenient suffering, unfortunate decline, malestar continuo. But you can see it in their faces. Revulsion, dread. Not just for your illness, for what it means. A bizarre rumor takes shape in the corridors of El Escorial, that your condition is divine retribution, not just for sins of empire, but for secrets darker still, that in your youth you made vows to saints you never fulfilled, that a monastery's curse clings to you still. A friar claims he saw your skin shift in the candlelight, cracked like old parchment, with ink bleeding through it, as if your body remembers every decree, every sentence of death, and is writing it back out through your wounds. You drift in and out. Time becomes a fogged mirror. The only clarity is pain. Pain that shatters sleep, that bends prayer into desperate begging. And in rare, lucid moments you wonder, if this is the beginning, what will the end look like? The heat never leaves the room. Even in the cold stone belly of El Escorial, the air around your bed clings to your skin like wet wool. The thick velvet drapes, once a symbol of majesty, now trap the scent of your decay. Candles burn in every corner, flickering not for light but to mask the smell. But nothing helps. The chamber reeks of dying, of rank flesh, old sweat, and the medicinal bite of boiled herbs. You are breathing in your own end. You lie still, barely able to shift. The bandages around your legs are changed daily. Slowly, delicately. But still they stick. And each removal is an agony. The skin beneath peels like soaked parchment. Beneath that, infection. You hear them whisper it. Gangrena seca. Dry gangrene. The limbs die without bleeding. They stiffen, blacken, and slowly rot. You cannot see it, but you feel it. The coldness creeping up your calves, the numbness, the deadness, and then, oddly, pain again. As if the nerves scream before surrendering to the void. You ask for your relics. They are brought one by one, as they have been each day. You kiss the thorns believed to be from Christ's crown. You press your cracked lips to a fragment of St. Bartholomew's rib. You murmur prayers through blood-choked teeth. Every relic sears with significance, and every touch burns. A dark irony clings to each object. Tools of salvation now feel like instruments of torture. The bleeding begins again. Your personal physician, Dr. Juan de la Fuente, suggests opening new wounds to let the bad humors escape. A common medical practice in your time, based on Hippocratic theory. But your body has little left to give. Still, the physician cuts, just behind the knee, near the groin, along the forearms. The blood is slow, thick, dark as oil. It clots unevenly, then breaks open again in the night. A curious figure enters your room. He wears a simple cassock and speaks in low tones. His name is lost to history, but some sources refer to him only as El Recollector. A fringe account from a servant's diary claims this monk offered to collect the excretions of sanctity, the sweat, pus, and bleeding from your wounds, as holy relics in their own right, that he believed your suffering had become a form of living martyrdom, that your agony was a saint's agony. Scholars still dispute whether this man existed, or if he was invention, another phantasm conjured by fever and guilt. But it's said that he wept as he dabbed blood from your bedclothes and whispered, "This is what the saints endured." You want to believe him, but the smell is worse now. The rot is visible in your lower half, a blackness that no salve can cure, a blackness that eats, and beneath it, white, a crust of dried salt, or perhaps bone peeking through. The attendants say nothing. They bow and nod and serve. But some leave the room retching. Others simply don't return. A physician suggests cauterization. You agree. It is not a brave choice. It is desperation. And so, they heat a silver rod in flame. You hear the hiss before you feel it. Then the pain comes like a bell struck in your nerves. Your body arches despite itself. Your scream is brief but full. It echoes through the chamber where, just a few years ago, you dictated the affairs of the world. You cannot speak for hours afterward, but you breathe, not deeply, not calmly. Each breath is a staggered effort, shallow and rasping, your lungs stiffening in tandem with your limbs. Some historians later speculate that your body endured not just gangrene but possibly Fournier's gangrene, a flesh-eating infection targeting the genitals and groin. Modern medicine can barely survive it with surgery and antibiotics. You are in the year 1598. Your surgeons have knives and fire, and you refuse opiates, not because you're brave, because you believe you deserve it. In your most lucid moments, the Inquisition creeps back to your mind. You picture the heretics you sentenced, the confessions extracted on the rack, the tongues torn out, the feet roasted over coals. You sanctioned it all, in God's name, for purity, for power. And now, you wonder if every pain you feel. There is a constant buzz of flies. They swarm toward your lower half, drawn to the rot. A veil is draped over your legs now, but it does little. The flies come anyway. Some land on your lips. One crawls into your ear, and it takes 3 servants to remove it without tearing your skin. You shiver, not from cold, but from the filth of it. A servant drops a bowl of soiled linens. The sound is deafening. Your heart jumps. You feel the sharp stab in your chest again, a pain that has come and gone for weeks. It is not strong, but it lingers, like a distant drumbeat growing louder. You say nothing. You whisper to Christ instead, and you weep when no one is looking. You remember how you once ruled half the known world, and now you rule a chamber of flies. You are devout. You are obedient to God. But even you begin to wonder, what sin could merit this? The council gathers just outside your door. Their voices seep through the velvet curtains like smoke. They speak low and quick, like men afraid to name a ghost aloud. The matters of state continue. Treaties, coinage, harvests, rebellions. But their words falter when they speak of you. You hear the pause after His Majesty. You feel the weight of that hesitation, like dust settling on a corpse not yet cold. You are wheeled in, not on a throne, but on a litter, wrapped in linen, slumped like a relic from a ruined age. Your once proud frame, tall and gaunt and regal, has withered to angles. The crown does not sit on your head anymore. It waits nearby, a heavy thing you no longer have the strength to wear. Instead, your eyes speak for you. Bloodshot, yellowed, wet with fever. You lock them on each minister in turn, and though you barely whisper, they lean forward as if your breath carries the fate of nations. Your robes are not clean. They cling to you, damp and streaked with old discharge. Pus has seeped through the wool. Blood has dried into the seams. Still you wear them. They are royal. They are sacred. You must remain king, even as your flesh betrays you. One aide gags as he kneels beside your litter. You pretend not to notice. The stench of your body, sweet, metallic, and thick as fog, is no longer something you can hide. It moves with you, a scent more permanent than perfume. A priest once called it the aroma of sanctification. But your council calls it something else behind closed doors. El olor de la tumba. The smell of the tomb. Your voice cracks as you attempt to speak. Blood flecks your tongue. A servant discreetly wipes it away. You try again, forcing sound through your ruined throat. Orders, edicts, approvals. The empire must go on. Even as you rot. Historians agree. Your body was failing, but your mind remained sharp. One report from the Venetian ambassador claims you corrected a treasury miscalculation from memory while in the middle of a fever. Another states you rejected peace, terms with France. Despite your pulse dipping so low your physicians feared you were slipping into death mid-negotiation. Still others suggest you dictated final imperial instructions that would shape Spain's policies for the next decade, while blood pooled beneath you and your skin broke open under the weight of your garments. But you know the truth. Each word you speak costs you more than gold ever did. Your jaw aches. Your temples pulse with each breath. The crown doesn't rest on your brow, but its weight presses into your skull all the same. You are carrying not just the empire, but its ghosts. Fringe tail surfaces here. One of your advisors, it said, secretly consulted an astrologer to divine the date of your death, not to plan for mourning, but for succession. He feared you would not last the month, that Spain might shatter under your silence. The astrologer, allegedly, gave no date, but warned that your final eclipse would be felt in bone, not sky. No one knows what it meant. Perhaps even less now. The bleeding worsens. Your ulcers have reached your back. They open and drain without warning. Sometimes the flow is thick and black, other times thin and pink, like diluted meat. The priests come often now, not for comfort, but for witness. They bring communion. They offer extreme unction. Each time, you refuse. Not yet. Not until you feel the end. One morning, your chambermaids arrive to find your sheets soaked in yellow fluid. It's not blood, not urine. Something else. Something deeper. Your physician cuts into a boil on your thigh and recoils. The smell forces him back 2 full steps. Inside the swelling, fatty. Tissue has liquefied. You are decomposing while alive. Your own fat is turning to soup beneath your skin. They do not tell you this, but you see it in their faces. Even now, even after all of it, you try to stand. It takes 4 men to lift you. Your legs no longer function. They hang like old ropes. But you must stand, you say. You must attend Mass. The ritual matters. If you do not rise before God, how can you meet Him? They hold you upright like a puppet. Your eyes roll back from the strain, your teeth clench. But you stand. For 4 minutes, long enough to hear the first part of the rite. Then your knees give, and you collapse like a rag soaked in blood. You do not rise again that day. A strange event occurs that night. A servant enters with clean cloth, and as he turns you for cleaning, he screams. Not at your condition, but at what he sees on the wall. Blood, in the shape of a hand, pressed against the stone as if something had reached out from your back and tried to push through. The wall is scrubbed clean by dawn. Some say it was your own limb, flailing in a fever. Others whisper darker things, that the devil came to collect, but found you still clinging to the cross. Scholars still dispute whether this event occurred at all, but the handprint has appeared in multiple independent personal accounts from palace staff. You begin to hallucinate. Voices, in Latin, speak to you from the rafters. Shadows move where no candle flickers. You smell burning incense where none has been lit. You see your father, Emperor Charles, mouth moving but silent. You beg him to stay. He vanishes. You see fire. Cities, burning. Heretics screaming. You whisper their names. You don't know if you're repenting or reliving. Your hands are the only part of your body that remain untouched. Still long. still royal, still strong enough to hold the crucifix. You grip it tighter now, fingers bone-white, as if you could strangle death with prayer alone. The throne is gone. You rule now only over the space between your eyes and the ceiling, and even that, God seems to own more of each hour. The priests come less often now, not because your faith has faltered. No, you clutch your rosary with white-knuckled devotion, but because even holy men recoil at your sight. The sacred chamber reeks of putrefaction. The scent of your suffering is a dark cloud that no incense can chase away. They say your flesh has become a testament to divine wrath, a living parable of sin and punishment writ in flesh and blood. The walls whisper this, your attendants murmur of castigo divino, divine punishment. For some it's a warning. Kings must walk the path of holiness, or they will burn. For others it is a sign. The empire itself is cursed, infected by the sins of conquest, cruelty, and endless war. You hear these whispers even as you lie still. Your mind, sharp and haunted, returns again and again to those dark thoughts. Were you chosen by God, or abandoned by Him? The Inquisition was your tool, the fires that cleansed heretics your mandate. Yet now the flames seem to lick back at you, invisible and merciless. You wonder if the torment is penance, your own, personal purgatory made manifest in flesh. A bizarre fragment from a monk's journal surfaces decades later. He claims to have witnessed a vision in your chamber, your body writhing not just from pain, but from unseen worms burrowing beneath your skin. These were not ordinary maggots, but spectral creatures, worms of God, sent to consume your soul's impurities. The monk's words were dismissed as superstition, yet the metaphor clings. Your suffering feels like being devoured alive, not just by disease, but by divine judgment. Priests debate fiercely your condition's meaning. Some argue it is a holy trial, meant to test your faith and cleanse your soul before passing. Others believe your agony exposed a profound theological crisis. If the God you serve allows this suffering, what does that say of divine justice? The king who ruled by divine right now embodies divine silence. Your body continues its betrayal. Your wounds spread. Ulcers bloom like black flowers along your limbs, spreading their poisonous fragrance. The blackened skin flakes away to reveal raw, bleeding tissue beneath. Your breath grows shallow, rattling through a throat clogged with phlegm and pus. A constant cough shakes you, racking your frame like a tempest. Even the Inquisition falters, in its certainty. The tribunal's records note discomfort in describing your death. No fire, no sword, no public spectacle. Only a slow death, not for release, but for understanding, for forgiveness. Your lips move soundlessly in the dark, tracing the beads of your rosary until your fingers cramp. The relics lie scattered nearby, untouched for days now, their power fading against the relentless rot. Your servants speak less in your presence. They exchange fearful glances, sharing whispered prayers for your soul's salvation. The flies multiply. Their buzzing becomes a dark hymn, a soundtrack to your slow decay. At night, you swear you hear faint voices carried on the draft, chants in Latin, or curses in Old Castilian. You dream of being devoured, not by men or beasts, but by your own flesh, worms wriggling under your skin. The sound of gnawing, chewing, and tearing. The sensation of your body unraveling from the inside. When you awaken, your sheets are soaked anew, your body a map of pain and suffering. Your heirs hesitate. Your son, Philip III, stands outside your chamber, torn between filial love and dread. He is a man groomed to inherit a kingdom, but unprepared for this death. He fears the sight, the smell, the burden of a father consumed not by enemy swords, but by his own flesh's rebellion. Letters later reveal his anguish, his prayers, and his hope for a swift end that does not come. The kingdom waits. But you lie in a prison of flesh, caught between life and something darker. The scholars still debate what finally caused your death. Was it sepsis, spreading from the gangrene, a heart broken by pain, or something more elusive, a spiritual unraveling that no medicine could touch? There are no definitive answers, only the endless questions that shadow your legacy, like the creeping darkness in your dying chamber. And so you remain, devoured not just by disease, but by the weight of empire, faith, and blood. The end is a slow surrender. You lie motionless now, the last flickers of strength ebbing like dying embers. Your breath comes in shallow, uneven gasps, a harsh rhythm that echoes in the vast chamber. The royal tapestry hangs heavy on the walls, its colors faded, much like your own spirit. The flicker of candlelight casts giant, trembling shadows that seem to dance mockingly across your face. Now gaunt and pale, your skin feels tight, stretched thin over brittle bones. The gangrene has taken the last of your legs, the flesh blackened, shriveled, and insensible. Your attendants whisper that the doctors have amputated as far as possible, but it changes nothing. The poison of death seeps relentlessly upward, a creeping shadow that no fire or knife can banish. You try to grasp the crucifix, but your fingers barely move. Your once commanding hands tremble weakly, fingers curling like dead leaves. The relics lie forgotten nearby, symbols powerless before the visceral truth of your body's dissolution. You long for peace, but cannot find it in prayer, nor in the bitter silence that fills the chamber. The room smells of decay, medicine, and stale incense, a foul mix that clings to your nostrils, mingling with the metallic taste of blood that you cannot spit out. The buzzing of flies has turned deafening, a constant droning like a requiem for the living dead. Their wings beat against your skin, seeking entry through broken flesh. You shudder beneath their assault, a prisoner in your own failing body. You hear the footsteps of the king's physicians, tense, hushed, and uncertain. They consult in whispers, their faces masks of professional detachment concealing dread. Some claim you are slipping into delirium, others warn of heart failure. The court surgeons debate whether any intervention remains possible, but the answer lies buried beneath the rotting muscle and swollen veins. None can halt the merciless advance. A last hope flickers when your confessor arrives. He speaks words of comfort, offers the last rites. You clutch his hand feebly, your voice a brittle whisper of gratitude and fear. You ask for forgiveness, of God, of your subjects, of your sins. His prayers fill the chamber with heavy solemnity, yet your soul feels tethered to a body unraveling, beyond repair. An obscure record from a chronicler claims that in your final hours, you spoke of shadows, dark figures that reached from beyond, calling your name. Whether fevered visions or spiritual visitations, they linger in history's twilight. They evoke an image of a man caught between worlds, dragged slowly into an abyss from which none return. Your eyes flutter open once more. You glimpse the faces of those who have served you, some weeping quietly, others stoic with the burden of bearing witness. You attempt a smile, fragile and fleeting, as if to say, "I have borne the weight. I am ready." Your lips part, whispering a final prayer, a plea for mercy, then silence, your breathing slows. The heart that once beat with imperial resolve falters, then stills. The light dims. You are no longer king, but a body surrendered to time and memory. Historians differ on the exact moment of your death. Some place it late in September 1598. Others argue it was early October. But all agree on the lingering impact. Your demise marked not just the end of a man, but the fading of an era. Your empire continued, Yet it bore the scars of your final days. Uncertainty, decay, and a haunting reminder of mortality. A shadow crosses the court. Whispers spread. Was your death a punishment for hubris? A divine reckoning for sins too great? Or simply the cruel inevitability of flesh and time? The questions remain unanswered, buried beneath layers of legend and truth. You are remembered, not for the glory of conquests or the might of your reign alone, but for the slow, terrifying way your body betrayed you, for the horror of being devoured, alive, not by enemies on the battlefield, but by the merciless advance of decay. Your death became a dark mirror reflecting the fragility beneath the crown. The flies have flown away. The chamber is silent once more. But the memory lingers.